Hello, my loves. How are you? This is Heidi with your December soul message. Can you believe the year is over? Oh my God, so much to report, and also hugely grateful to the powers that be that there's some cooling, some calming energy that's starting to come in. The last year, 2 years has been so hard. And, the first year of the pandemic, it was like, okay, we're learning to adjust, we're figuring this out, whatever. And then this whole last year has felt like, okay, guys, everybody, back to usual, back to normal, but nothing's normal. So it's just been really hard. And the last 2 months specifically have felt like living under a wet blanket. So I was very, very excited when I was shown the image for the month, which is a beautiful open-winged, open-feathered peacock. And the title of it this month is Wild Expression, because that's what we're moving into. It's like we've had so much hard, so much contracting, so much, compacted energy that it's created the diamond, it's created the pearl. And so there's this energy coming in now that's saying, okay, reap the rewards of all the hard work that you have put in, and let yourself celebrate and let yourself be in joy and in love with yourself and in love with your accomplishments, your achievements, even if you're sitting looking around going, well, what are my accomplishments? What are my achievements? Because I guarantee you that they're there. If you have a journaling practice or anything where you have jotted down versions, I just saw somebody post this morning about, I kind of want to get it. It's like a 5-year gratitude journal. And so each page of the day will say like May 7th or whatever. And then there's a space for 5 years in a row so that you're always writing on the same day. So at the end of the year, you can look and go, oh, for 5 years, this is what was happening on that day. And she was talking about the synchronicity and how it all, smooths together. But anyways, if you have anything like that you can look back and reflect on who you were a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, or just close your eyes and envision, where was I 5 years ago? What did that look like? And how have I, how far have I come? Because I think so many times we're moving and we're reaching goals and we're making changes and we're doing things, but we don't stop to acknowledge that it's happened, because we're always, forward focused. And so really give yourself time to do that this month, because that's this energy of wild expression. And so part of it is just reveling in how far you've come and what you have done. The other part of it is being visible and letting yourself be seen, like coming out of the woodwork, which is a little odd, because normally in December, when we're starting to go into winter, we're going into the cave. So we're going into self-assessment and we're going into kind of cutting everything off, looking in the darkness, looking in the recesses. And I'm not saying that won't be here, but what I'm seeing right now is not so much that. And it may be because there's a little tandem piece coming in. It's like our self-esteem is becoming bolstered to the point that we actually believe it ourselves. We actually believe in ourselves, and that's kind of some of what this December energy is about. It's about celebrating, who you are and what you've done and what you've accomplished, and all of the rich friendships that you have and the connections that you've made. Like there's a connection energy here. And so I think this year, if I'm trying to guess forward what's going to come through in the typical cave hibernation energy of the winter, is that there's a tandem energy of it. It's like when and if we're hiding ourselves, in the cave, when we're doing that work, it's only to mine for gold. It's to strengthen what we have already found. It's to strengthen the jewels and the gems that we're coming across. So it's really beautiful. There is so much kind of joy coming along, and I'm feeling this sort of fierce warrior goddess energy too. It's like we want to dance and celebrate and party and really honor ourselves in the work that we have done and where we have gone. So there's an energy of celebration, of rejoicing, letting go of baggage, letting go of the crap that you have been carrying for other people. There's an energy that I've been working with for at least 2 years now, and it's challenging and painful, but very fruitious. Is that a word? Very fruitful. It's letting people be who they are and then believing them. And that's all your work. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to do anything about it. You do have to be with yourself in the discomfort of how and when and where people aren't showing up. But that part isn't your work. Your only work maybe is to communicate like, hey, that doesn't work for me, or this is what I'm needing. So there's a little bit of like coming out with the truth of who you are and what you need and verbalizing that, letting that be seen and honoring it. And in that way, you're honoring yourself. You are saying that you're worthy and valuable. And so there's this energy of abundance, and that's the oil for the month. I would show it to you, but it's in my order that hasn't arrived yet. It was one of the Black Friday sale orders, so I grabbed it and didn't know it was going to be the oil for the month until I started writing. And right as I say that, a hummingbird comes to the window, of course. Poor little baby. I need to change the food so it has something to snack on. That's really interesting that just happened, because that so goes along with the abundance energy. It's like, okay, here's what I was going to say, and then I'll explain how it's connected to the hummingbird. So the oil and the energy of abundance here. What I'm starting to see is there's permission and abundance like sit side by side. We have to give ourselves permission to receive the abundance, to receive the thing that we're wanting, the goal, the relationship, the job, the house, the inner peace. Like, it doesn't always have to be focused on physical stuff. It's like, where do I want to be emotionally? Where do I want to be interpersonally? Where do I want to be in a fitness goal, which I'll talk about in a bit, which is never my goal, but something I'm going to tap into this month too. But there is a necessity to give yourself permission to have the thing in order to get it. So how it's related to the hummingbird, I'm like, oh yeah. Okay, so the hummingbird wants to come and have some food, and I get the benefit of being able to see it at the window when I do that, right? If there isn't fresh, yummy sugar water out there for them, they're not going to come, or they're going to come and hang for a second and leave. And it's kind of the same with this permission and abundance. The more permission you give yourself to have the thing, to experience that abundance, the more it can find you and meet you. And it's like, we have all kinds of naysayers in our lives that are going to tell us, we can't reach this, we can't do that, whatever. But we are the biggest naysayer that we have, because all of the voices outside of us, they don't mean a damn thing unless we agree with them. And so all of that is such an incredible inside job. And if you can do that, then you can receive the abundance. And I'm already seeing that is going to be my word for 2022 is abundance. Because that's an energy that I'm playing with anyway. And then I'm like, oh, here it is right here in the December soul message. And so I thought it was interesting. This came through in the blog that with freedom, AKA permission, comes abundance. And last month we had the freedom oil. So I think that's so interesting how those sit side by side. So 3 things that we want to focus on this month. One is, telling a friend. So there's an energy of, and this goes along with permission. If you're able to share with a friend a good thing, a hard thing, a challenging thing, a thing that you're celebrating, if you're able to bring something to a friend and share it, it's as if you get to celebrate it more because there's a larger container held for it. And so often, we know this from experience. When we're struggling with something and we go to a friend or, a loved one for like help or support, 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10, we don't want them to fix it for us. We don't want answers. We just want someone to help us hold the weight of it or the excitement of it or whatever, and to celebrate us or to support us. And when we try to fix it, it's like putting a lid on the excitement or the grief or whatever, and then it can't do what it needs to do. And when we share it with someone, it's like, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I certainly have noticed that when you bring something to someone, even if it's grief, even it's like sheer utter pain, just by the act of bringing it to them and being willing to risk and have them hold that space for you, they don't have to do anything. But just by sharing it and speaking it out loud, it almost instantaneously starts to move and it becomes less of a problem, or it becomes more exciting because you were able to share it. And so we have to remember that too, as partners, as friends, we have a duty to our friends to not fix it, but to hold a container and to celebrate them. And just by doing that, we can help them. I talked about it a couple months ago. I think it was in October when the Gabor Mate documentary came out called Wisdom of Trauma. And he talked about this thing about, babies not having fully developed nervous systems. And so all the parents really have to do is pick them up and hold them. And the child in that moment borrows the nervous system of the adult to know how to do and to help self-regulate. But we often think we have to give them a toy or give them food or, change a diaper or whatever. And sometimes those things can be true. But I thought that was so interesting. And if we can take that into our adult relationships and experiences, just to realize like, wow, when someone brings something hard to us or something exciting, we don't have to do anything. We just have to help them hold it and be so grateful that they brought it to us, because that is such a gift of trust. So there's that energy here of telling a friend, like letting that thing that's part of your peacock, that's part of your beauty and your vision and your expression is like, hey, I'm going to express and I'm going to share it with someone or share something. And then the second thing is pushing your comfort zone. Now, I'm the first to tell you that I have no issue with the thing of accountability or accepting a challenge. Like I chant regularly for 40 days in a row and then I'll change the chant, or meditating regularly. But when it comes to physical exercise, I talked about this on Instagram a while ago in stories, but this is the challenge that I'm doing for the month. And if you want to join me, please do. So as many of you know, I got a Peloton in July, and Robin Arson is one of my favorite teachers. She's almost the only one that I go to. And she is doing a challenge in December from December 1st to the 31st, and it's 30 for 30. So follow that hashtag 30 for 30 for 30 for 31. And it's 30 minutes of exercise for 31 days in a row. So this is the rub that I run into. It's the in a row part. Like, I don't mind doing the exercise, but it's not having days off or breaks. So what she said is you can do, 15 minutes of walking in the morning, 15 in the afternoon, if it's a day you don't want to run or do the bike or whatever other exercise. It's just moving your body for 30 minutes for 31 days in a row. So that's what I'm doing. But that the energy of what I was talking about was pushing your comfort zone. So that's one of the ways that I'm going to do it, is to push yourself in a place where you want to replant yourself in one way. Like the comfort zone is the coming out of the comfort zone is about replanting your pot into a larger pot. And we have all gone through so much in the last 2 years. There's no way you can't help but have grown with that much pressure and that much, condensed energy. So that's the other thing. So pushing your comfort zone, that's the second one. And then the third one is being in your own rhythm. So in December, of course, we know it's the holidays. And when we're with family, a lot of times, like, it can bring up all of our patterns. It can bring up all of our, kind of automatic responses to things. So this is the challenge for this month. And it's part of like being in the cave, but not being in the cave, but it's being in the cave of yourself, within yourself. And being in your own rhythm, it's really about allowing yourself to be exactly where you are and not adjusting yourself based on others' expectations. And so I'm just saying, like, the holiday times is a really rich container to practice that in, because it's so easy. I mean, everyone knows when you go home to your parents, like you instantly become 14 years old again and all the stuff starts to come up, you know? And so it's a great container. It's a great opportunity to just take a moment and go, I'm going to do things the way that I need to do them in this moment. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to go for, exercise. I'm going to read. I'm going to sleep in. I'm going to, whatever you need to do, right? And it's such a beautiful container and opportunity for everyone that's together to really like track their own rhythms and be in their own thing while also cohabitating or, co-communing. So it's not because of the holidays, but I just was like, oh, of course, that energy would come up this month of being in your own rhythm. And that's, again, permission. It's allowing yourself to receive the abundance of you. Because when you have committed to being your own best friend and you're living in that level of abundance and that level of honoring yourself, you are never alone because you are always there for yourself. You have your own best interest and your own rhythms, at heart. So let's see what the card is. And I'm trying to think, I feel like there was something else that I missed. But there's a blog. If I forgot something, it'll be over there. Woo, God, these things are popping right now. Which one is it going to be? Oh, interesting. I feel like we had this card. We did. We had it in, oh, that's what I forgot. Eclipse season. Okay. This Friday, December 4th, it is going to be a new moon solar eclipse in Scorpio. 1 month ago, the new moon at the beginning of November was also a new moon in Scorpio. So we have a revisit of that same energy, but this time it's a solar eclipse. So whenever we're in eclipse season, it's like all the lights are flipped all the way on and all the lights are flipped all the way off. So as my friend Sherry said so poignantly last month, I might as well just share it here because it's still kind of here, like on the edges here at the beginning of December. Everyone's colors are very vivid right now. It's like, that's kind of eclipse season. Like you can't help but see people's shit and you can't help but see your own. And it's beautiful because when you see other people's, then you know you have it too, right? Like there's no getting out of it. That's just not what we're doing. And so was it new moon ceremony or full moon ceremony? And we just had full moon. So it was new moon ceremony at the beginning of November, new moon in Scorpio. We had 3 cards. We had the desert, we had the river, and we had the threshold. Well, we just got the river again. So I'm going to read that, but what it feels like, and my same friend Sherry was talking about her energy of feeling like she was in the cave this time. For winter has the energy of water running along the edges. It's like soothing, right? There's an energy of water soothing grief. Well, this is hilarious because a card just flew out of the deck. Okay, we might have to read that one too. Hello. All right. The river, the stream, the flow, the current. Remember, flow is wolf backwards. There is a reason so many rituals of change and rebirth take place in the river. I mean, this is so perfect because the word that I did not use for wild expression and the peacock is rebirth. There is like a baptism happening here. Without asking anything in return, the river washes away what is no longer necessary. I mean, that is exactly what we're doing. It's like the culmination of the last 2 years, and we're going through this bath right here in December to come to the other side to 2022 clean and ready to go. And, this wild peacock expression is like we're being pushed out of our comfort zones to allow ourselves to do that. So the river washes away what is no longer necessary, smoothing over sharp edges and accepting all our mistakes and grievances. Woo! Accepting all of our mistakes and grievances. Yes. And that is the mistakes and grievances of others too, right? Like in November, I talked about this energy of ego death and eating crow, that energy of like, having to see like our own stuff. Once we step in, we are no longer in control. The river carries us farther down the stream of transformation than we plan to go, okay? That's the peacock. That is the busting out of the old container. Its waters have a special gift for reflecting back to us a new and dreamlike vision. Once the tears have passed, we see ourselves as we haven't before, with a little more lightness, grace, and fluidity. And Chani Nicholas just posted today, I reposted in my stories, about grief and celebration sitting side by side. Keep in mind, the you that stands within the river is the real you, okay? That's the one that you're giving yourself permission to feel and experience and be. So the river is the real you, full of deep emotion and potential, nothing to hide, nothing to judge. So that's the other word I don't think I used around expression, and it's that ability to, giving yourself permission not to judge yourself either. May you drink in the sight of your true self. When light, acceptance, grace, reflection, forgiveness. When dark, torment of emotions, flooding, overwhelmed. To go deeper, Barry Lopez's River Notes and Ronnie Horn's Still Water. You can only resist the river for so long. Eventually, it will pull you toward change. So you may as well get in with style and grace. The river is emotion when you are in its current. You will know it by the bursting forth of tears, laughter, song, despair. All the emotions flow, Wolf, in its current. So this is exactly what I'm talking about, the self-expression. So maybe it's tears, maybe it's laughter, maybe it's song, maybe it's despair. It's any of those things. It doesn't have to be like I'm only celebrating, I'm only honoring the light. It's like, it's about expressing the dark too. And I'm going to read this one because it was right here and I feel like it was supposed to come in this way, okay? So the other one was the offering, the gift, the present, the sacrifice. Unlike many of the other cards in the deck, the offering carries a clear as day message and a call to action. As you may have guessed it is time for something to be given and given up for the sake of the bigger picture. If nothing comes to mind immediately, though it's likely it will, take time in meditation to consider what must be offered and who is to receive it. It's likely you'll feel attachment and hesitancy. You'll make excuses because we're at that place of change right now and we're sitting at the threshold and it's like, ooh, I don't want to leave the comfort, but that's the only way that it's going to happen. But recognize the link between the word sacrifice and the word sacred. One leads to the other. When we offer something up to the greater good, we lighten our load and become more able to serve. Imagine for a moment if you were to offer your whole self unconditionally to the world. For now, start small. That's exactly what I'm talking about. The peacock is offering your whole self to the world, unabashedly offering your whole self, all of it, the messy. What is the message in the mess, right? It's about sharing all of that. When light, generosity, donation, volunteering. When dark, giving with expectations, keeping track. To go deeper, Odin's sacrifice of his eye in Norse mythology. I'm going to pause and say this because it's coming up right here. I was just talking to some friends this morning about Instagram, and it's interesting because I think often we use Instagram as a way to wet lash ourselves and like look at what everybody else is doing and go, oh my God, they're doing it better than me, or look at the great life that they're living, or they're expressing themselves more than I am and I'm not doing it, But what if we used Instagram as the platform that it could be, a place for community and connection and sharing raw, authentic honesty and truth. And in a way, it's like we could shift the whole vibration and energy of it just by making the commitment to doing that. It's like, that is the offering right there. It's offering up what it used to be and offering to the world who you are and what it could be. Once a week, Gandhi gave up speaking for a day, offering himself to divine silence. The offering can come in all shapes and sizes. For me, it's 30 for 31. If there is a gift you've been thinking of giving someone special, now is the time. So again, the river and the offering. I mean, how gorgeous is that? So like I said, new moon, solar eclipse, December 4. I didn't write down the date for the full moon. I think it's on the 18th of December. I'm going to do it the Friday right before Christmas. Or right before, not the day before Christmas, but right before, the week before. Moon ceremonies are always $11 or $9 if you do subscription. The recording goes out automatically as soon as it's over if you aren't able to join live. So that's an option. Like I said, the oil of the month is abundance. I did not write down all the ingredients. I can post that in stories later, but what I did post it in the blog, so you can go and look there. But what I noticed that there's a handful of energies that are grounding, and then there's a handful of energies that are, expansive, and there's some citrus oils in there and that are always uplifting and that kind of stuff. So you've got like a tandem of those things, which is really beautiful. Is there anything else? I am finishing up this month. I'm so excited, in not this weekend, but next weekend, doing the retreat for my mentorship, finalizing it out. So it was a 9-month program that ends this month, and I am going to be offering it again next month. So if you are interested, reach out. I don't have anything yet on my website about it. I don't have the dates or anything published. I'm just working on all of that. I want to take a pause as soon as it's finished and just kind of assess before I re-offer it. But it is going to be again next year, from April to December again. So a 9-month program. We work through the chakras. We work through all the intuitive healing tools that I use, teaching those. There's Reiki attunements, community, of course, and we meet once a month. And it's just been absolutely amazing. Talk about expression and doing my peacock thing and being so nourished by all the beautiful people, the beautiful, gorgeous souls, my wolf women that have shown up to do this work for me. I could not be more grateful. So stay tuned for that. Have a wonderful month. Have a wonderful holiday in whatever way you're celebrating. And let's do this thing. I'll talk more about the energy for 2022 and all of that in the January message. But we're moving into a 6-year, and it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. So love you all. Namaste. I think that's it. All right. Take care. Happy holidays.